Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all my viewers. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to clean retro games, that being cartridges, discs, or other. So let me show you what you're going to need at first. Firstly, you're going to need some rubbing alcohol. It can be any brand as long as it's rubbing alcohol, so it's antiseptic. So obviously you're not drinking alcohol by any means. You're also going to need some Q-tips. You're also going to need a good microfiber cloth, which I'll show you for the discs why that's important. And you'll also need a good glass cleaner. I'm actually a car detailer, so I always keep this on hand, but really any glass cleaner like Windex or anything like that will do. So let's get started. Okay, so to get started, let's go clean some game cartridges. So I've just got a Copy Space Harrier. I recently picked this up. And what we're going to do is we're going to take my rubbing alcohol, which I've got here. I've just taken the cap and I've just chucked, obviously, some rubbing alcohol in it. I'm going to take my Q-tip. I'm going to get some good access to the contacts here. I don't know if this has been cleaned before, but hopefully it hasn't. So I'll get some good dirt that will come up hopefully on the Q-tip. And basically what I like to do to start off with is just stroke up and down, and let's see if there's any dirt there. So at the moment, no. This may be a clean cartridge. I may have to go get another game. Yeah. That is one of the bummers of buying games at a retro game store. They like to do all the work for me. Okay, so hopefully you can see that dirt there. That's just from going up and down strokes on the actual contacts themselves. And that was just one pass on the top and one pass on the bottom, and that's quite a lot of dirt there. Not as bad as some cartridges I've had to deal with in the past, but that's definitely going to be preventing it reading as easy. It would be reading a lot easier if it was nice and clean, obviously, so that's definitely going to help it and not prohibit it in any way. So after you've done that, you can either grab a new cotton tip, or sometimes I'll just flip over the bud and maybe do another pass. But once it's all nice and clean, or if you haven't really gotten much dirt off, just to finish it off, I'll probably grab a nice fresh new Q-tip, and I'll just do one solid sweep pass over the top and one solid at the bottom, and then I might just go around all the plastics here. A lot of cartridges obviously have shapes, but these Q-tips make it nice and easy to get in between the nooks and crannies and all the crevices and everything. That just gets some dust. Also, the dust isn't just going to fly straight back onto the contacts after you put it in the case or you chuck it in the console itself. But that is how you clean game cartridges, and this will work. Obviously, things like your DS, it'll still work. Your 3DS, PS Vita games. Anything that's a cartridge, so Game Boy as well, even the old Sega Master System game cards. So when the cartridge is actually all cleaned, what I'll actually do is just usually chuck it upside down, and I'll chuck it underneath my ceiling fan just to speed up the drying process. I wouldn't recommend taking a dry Q-tip, because what will actually happen is when they're dry, the cotton will actually stick to the actual board, and yeah, basically have to redo all that hard work anyway. But yeah. Okay, so next we get on to cleaning game discs, and this is obviously going to apply to any game discs, so Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One, PS4, GameCube, PS2, Dreamcast, anything that uses a disc. So what we're going to do is we're going to take obviously our game disc, we're going to grab our glass cleaner, make sure it's nice and handy. But what we're also going to do is grab that microfiber cloth that I talked about earlier, because this is what you're actually going to be used to clean it. These are great because they're not going to leave any lint or dust or anything behind. So a couple of tips though, if you've bought a microfiber cloth, now this one does have it. Just make sure you rip the tags off the microfiber cloths just before you use it, as you don't want these cloths, you don't want these tags, there we go, you don't want these tags to be rubbing around on the disc while you're cleaning it, because they will cause a lot of damage. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this disc, we're going to grab the glass cleaner, probably spray, depending on how dirty it is, 4 dots of it. And we're going to grab our microfiber cloth, and we are going, if you can, go in a straight forward and back motion. You don't want to go in circles, because that way you will end up scratching it. But this is also really good for getting rid of smudges and things like that. This won't really take scratches out, but I have had luck where I've had severely scratched games and things like that, where I've tried this method and I have actually gotten the game to work despite the major scratches. So I'd say this is definitely worth getting and definitely doing. Even if the game is not really that dirty, if it's used, I'd recommend doing it. And I usually try and clean my discs either 6 to 12 months, depending on how much use they get. You can also do this with the picture side of the disc as well. Just give it a few sprays, as sometimes they can get smudging. Usually if they're owned by kids, sometimes they might have chocolate or sauce or something on it. I've had that happen to me in the past. But give it a nice wipe, and especially these PlayStation 1 games, they usually come up looking really nice. Sort of the chrome effect that they have on them looks really good. So yeah, that is one cleaned PlayStation 1 game. That's just the disc, that's the picture side, and then that is the actual reading side. You're not going to get rid of all those swirl marks and things like that, but you are definitely going to get it to a point where it's going to be able to read. The laser is going to have a good, nice, clean surface on which you can read to. And just after, you just grab a dry microfiber towel as well, just to buff off any of the residue glass cleaner. And there you have one clean disc. Well, there you go. That's how you clean your game cartridges and your disc-based games. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my channel and look at some other videos if you'd like, and subscribe. I appreciate it. See you next time.